Halderman, Sarah Jane Whitman, and Susan Herrick. Everyone wants to give them a hand for showing up. And also to Capiero for organizing this and doing Alright, so we're going to start with some brief bios, and then it's going to be very informal. Just, you guys can say whatever it is you want to say. People can ask questions. It's supposed to be very comfortable, back and forth sort of thing.
Yes, and after the sort of bios, I think each one will sort of talk a little bit about where they work and what they do, and then it's open season.
Just charge. Alright. We have Annette Halderman, and she's a legislative librarian for the Maryland General Assembly in Annapolis, Maryland. She moved to Maryland in November 2004 to take a job as a public librarian with the Anne Arundel County Library System in her first professional position. She joined the Division of Library and Information Services within the Office of Policy Analysis of the Department of Legislative Services, a nonpartisan research agency for the Maryland General Assembly in August 2007. In her work, she answers information requests for legislatures and their staff, which includes surveys of legislative statutes in the 50 states on a variety of subjects to ready reference information on General Assembly website use and bill information. She also fields questions from the general public regarding bill and statute information. Annette is active in professional organizations. She's current secretary of the Maryland chapter of the Special Library Association. Annette is a 2004 graduate of the Master of Library and Information Science program at the University of Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and a 2003 graduate of St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, with a Bachelor of Arts degree in both English and history. We also have Sarah Jane Whitman, a research librarian for Gordon, Feinblatt, Rothman, Hofberger, and Hollander, LLC. Sarah. She's Vice President and President-elect of the Law Library Association of Maryland. From 2007 to 2010, Sarah edited LLAM, or the Law Library Association of Maryland News, the quarterly Law Library Association newsletter, and continues to write for the publication. She has also served as LLAM Secretary and on the LLAM Grants Committee. Before moving to Baltimore, Sarah was an Information Resources Associate at the D.C. Office of National Economic Research Associates, an economic consulting firm. She has worked as a reference assistant at the University of Pennsylvania Biomedical Library, as a reference intern at the Stradley, Ronan, Stevens & Young, LLP, a law firm in Philadelphia, and as a library assistant at the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. Sarah holds a BA in English from Johns Hopkins University, where she was editor-in-chief of the weekly student newspaper, The Newsletter, and holds an MS in Information Science from Drexel University. When she's not doing research for attorneys, Sarah plays drum in a Baltimore-based metal band.
And after the presentation.
I'll save you all. That's my gift to you.
We have Susan Herrick, a research librarian at Thurgood Marshall Law Library at the University of Maryland School of Law. She teaches Introduction to Legal Research to first-year law students and Advanced Legal Research, Health Law to upper-class law students. Most recently, she has taught all online versions of the Advanced Legal Research course. She is active in various professional organizations, including the American Association of Law Libraries, and is currently president of the Law Library Association of Maryland. Susan received her JD with honor from University of Maryland School of Law and her MS/LS from Case Western Reserve University. In addition to practicing law, she also worked as a medical librarian and a law firm librarian before joining the staff of the Thurgood Marshall Law Library. She has authored a number of journal articles, tutorials, and presentations on legal research. She has also worked for LexisNexis as an editor in the Case Law Enhancements and Annotated Codes project. Susan has served as a library liaison to the various student-published law reviews at the University of Maryland, coordinated research workshops for law students entering summer employment, and given presentations on legislative and administrative research and on legal research instruction at local and national library association meetings. All right. So, who wants to start?
Should we start with me?
Okay. I'm Annette Halderman. I work at the Maryland General Assembly Library, which is in Annapolis, located right next to the State House in a place called the Department of Legislative Services, which is a nonpartisan staff agency for the Maryland General Assembly. There are many kind of functions within our building, the library being one. They have fiscal people. It's just kind of all the support that the legislature needs to make their decisions. We in the library, we can field a lot of requests. Oftentimes we're asked to do 50 state surveys, so if a legislator wants to know about issue X and he has a bill coming up for that, oftentimes they want to know what the other states are doing in that area. So you can either canvass a research organization that studies that, or you have to look through all the different statutes to see what everybody's doing. And that can be somewhat challenging at times, but it's also a very fun thing when you get it all completed and you're ready to send it off. So we also handle questions from the public as well, and they can ask about bills, and we're often kind of a stopping point for people to get them in the right direction of where they need to go, because Maryland doesn't really have an information line like 1-800-Maryland or something like that. So people often call us, so we have to try to know where to send them within the state. So, but we, just field kind of requests on everything. But each of the librarians also has a subject area that they deal with, and we're all part of a work group within the whole department, which is the Office of Policy Analysis. And on your work group there's fiscal people, and there's people that write the bills, and then you're their librarian. So mine, for example, is health. So people from the health work group ask me questions about various things. So I help the staff within my department as well as the legislators. So we also, during the session, we prepare a legislative wrap-up, and we use our subject areas, and I track all the health bills that come up and write a little bit about them. So we do that as well. And we also, one of our main things is to do legislative histories. And when the legislators ask, they want to know what happened, they want to see how something got to the point that it is now. And for example, I recently got asked a question about a bowling alley not a bowling alley, it was a pool table fee in Baltimore County. And there's a fee to, have a pool table, and I ended up tracing it back, and it was first instituted in 1798, which so I ended up jumping back the whole way through that. So I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't know if the legislator found it as interesting as I did. I did. I thought that was pretty good. So I put together a little history for him on that. So they probably wanted to know, who to blame for it, but they're all dead now. So, that's basically some of the things that we do. Also keep track of the local news so that we know what's going on. So if the legislator asks, what's happening with this, and then you can tell them. So that's my little spiel.
I always think your job sounds so interesting. I'm really fascinated by that. There's some glamour about the legislature. I just want to say a few things about academic law librarianship, and hopefully some other things will come out with questions. So just want to make a few comments. I mean, we wear a lot of hats, like all librarians do. Certainly a major component of what we do is service to the students, of course, but also very much an emphasis service to the faculty. Because the name of the game in law schools is, your rankings, how highly is your law school ranked, and one of the big things that goes into that is the academic reputation of your faculty. So, and again, I'm making some generalizations. Not all law schools are the same in this, but I think every law school has as one priority supporting the scholarship of their faculty, because you're always trying to make them happy, of course, and trying to attract prestigious faculty members. So a big part of our job is supporting the faculty scholarship. Everything from helping their research assistants, who are law students, to doing research for them on the topics that they happen to be writing on, to helping them get their articles into final format with the citation forms corrected, so they can submit the articles. And one of the things I think that is interesting about that is that I think more and more, and just because there are lots of law professors and they publish a lot of the research that we end up being called upon to do is sort of law-related